So now we're going to carry on with the story. After sin and everything, and Adam and Eve did what they did, God kicks Adam and Eve out the garden. He kicks mankind out the Garden of Eden. All right. So after he kicks them out the Garden of Eden, he places some cherubims to guard the Garden of Eden. And a cherubim, you'll later learn that a cherubim is a pretty powerful being, angelic being, that God put in place to protect this Garden of Eden. So ain't much gonna can handle a cherub, or nothing, should I say, pretty much, but God. So after Adam and Eve gets kicked out of the garden, they end up starting life outside the garden. They make a homestead, and they have children and whatever else. And after they have children, they have two sons named Cain and Abel. Cain comes first, then Abel. And Cain was grew up to be a farmer, and Abel grew up to be, I guess you'd say, a cattleman or whatever. He raised cattle, raised animals. And they come to God to give an offering. And Cain brought an offering of what he grew in his gardens and whatever else, and Abel brought an animal unto God. So I'm not sure if it's because of God prefers the blood sacrifice from an animal over the vegetation or the fruit or whatever he brought, or if it's because Cain didn't bring his best stuff, and maybe Abel did. But that's for another Bible study. Like, we're going to save that. We're going to continue moving forward. So after Cain found out that God didn't like his offering, but he did his brother's, Cain got mad. And God asked him, like, what is your problem? If you're not going to bring me an offering that I respect, then, you need to do better, more or less. So Cain gets mad at Abel, and he catches him in a field, and he kills him. So then God comes, and he asks Cain, he says, Cain, where's your brother? And Cain is like, am I my brother's keeper? Man, I'm going to tell you, God's got some patience. So anyway, he tells him, am I my brother's keeper? And then God asks him, he says, what have you done? Just like we just talked about earlier, normally when God asks you, what have you done? He knows what you've done. And he tells him, he says, your brother's blood crieth from the ground unto me. So he's letting him know, yeah, I know you killed your brother. So God curses Cain. Well, when he curses Cain, Cain's a farmer. The curse that he puts on Cain is, whatever you try to grow, from the earth, it's not going to work. You can't grow nothing. It's not going to be a harvest. So he takes away his lifestyle, what he does. So, and Cain's like, but God, that's too harsh. Like, how do I go about doing that? And he says, so they get into it. He cast him out, from where they're at, and they have to go. He has to go on his own, and this, that. He says, man, people's going to know everything, and I can't deal with life like this, and people's going to want to kill me and whatever else. So God actually puts a mark on him that when somebody else sees this mark, they'll know not to kill Cain. So, and I know some of y'all's probably like, wait a minute, I thought it was just a few people on earth. You got to think, this has been years since Adam and Eve had them as children, and God told them to populate the earth. So by now, and they live to be very old in these days, so there's, they had plenty of time to make other children. So, Cain ends up getting married. I'll leave that I'll start it off in the next video, but you can think about this in just one little setting right here. Cain introduces murder to the earth, and God shows forgiveness because he allows him to keep living, for one thing. So I thank you for your time. Hope you enjoyed it.